Well, good morning, Happy Rock. We are so excited that you joined us this morning.
Good
We
morning.
hope you had a wonderful 4th of July.
Wonderful. Good morning.
It probably looked a lot different for you. We are celebrating ours today with my mom and dad and Ben's mom, my mother-in-law. We're celebrating today because they run a fireworks tent, so they weren't able to celebrate on the 4th, but we are excited to celebrate with them. We hope you had a great time with your family and friends, whatever you did, and that you're having a great week. Take a moment this morning and say hi to somebody. Hi, Ben.
Hi.
How's it going?
I'm wonderful today.
You good this morning?
I'm good.
You ready for this?
I'm ready for this. I think so.
Yeah, it's going to be a good day.
Are you ready for this?
I am pumped.
Good.
I'm pumped. Yeah.
Got our water.
Got our water. We're good. Our Happy Rock mugs. We are excited for the day. It's going to be a good one. But the best thing to do to start off a day, best thing to do is with worship.
Worship.
We tell our HR kids this as well, that we're going to kick off the day today with some worship and loving on God. So if you'd like to stand up with us, if you'd like to stay at your computer or however you're watching with coffee, do that as well. But whatever you're doing, just take the time to worship this morning with us. So let's do it.
All our chains undone. Sin defeated, Jesus has overcome. And mercy triumphed when the third day dawned. And darkness was denied when the stone was gone. Unstoppable God, let your glory go on and on. And impossible things in your name, they shall be done. Unstoppable God, let your glory go on and on. Impossible things in your name, they shall be done. Yes, they shall be done. Nothing shall be impossible, and your kingdom reigns unstoppable. And we'll shout your praise forevermore. And Jesus, our God, unstoppable. And nothing shall be impossible, and your kingdom reigns unstoppable. And we'll shout your praise forevermore. And Jesus, our God, unstoppable. And nothing shall be impossible, and your kingdom reigns unstoppable. And we'll shout your praise forevermore. Jesus, our God, unstoppable. And nothing shall be impossible, and your kingdom reigns unstoppable. This is the day that you have made. Whatever comes, I won't complain. For all my hope is in your name, and now your joy awaits my praise. I give thanks for all you have done, and I will sing of your mercy and your love. Your love is unfailing. Lord, I am grateful. When I was down, you brought me out. You set my feet on higher ground. So here I'll stand. You are my God. Your faithfulness, my solid rock. Oh yeah, I give thanks for all you have done, and I will sing of your mercy and your love. Your love is unfailing. Lord, I am grateful. I give thanks for all you have done. I won't forget all the battles you have won. Your love is unfailing. Lord, I am grateful. So grateful. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. God, we're grateful for you. Come on and sing this with me this morning. Sing as we lift. And as we lift our hands, the heavens open, heavens open. So let our lives declare the love our God has spoken over us. And as we lift our hands, the heavens open, heavens open. So let our lives declare the love our God has spoken over I give thanks for all you have done, and I will sing of your mercy and your love. Your love is unfailing. Lord, I am grateful. I give thanks for all you have done. I won't forget all the battles you have won. Your love is unfailing. Lord, I am grateful. I'm grateful. I'm grateful. So grateful. Yeah.
Don't you love worship?
I love having really good times of worship. It's so refreshing.
It
It's
is.
so
It just
refreshing.
makes you feel so much better, and it feels like this huge weight is lifted off of you. It's just so nice.
Yeah, it's really good. It's really good.
Yeah.
But before we get to the message today, I want to just make a little announcement, little plug. Be looking out for a video this coming week. It's going to be either on our Facebook, well, it's going to be both.
Yeah, I'll
you
send
can
an
see
email,
it.
everything.
You can see it in either an email from our church or from me personally, depending on which email address we send it from. And also on our Facebook page, where we're going to be talking about what is the plan for our church in the coming weeks. We have been wanting to get to in-person services, right? And we've kind of been working out a plan and getting things going. And so we were going to set a date. Now a lot of craziness is going on again with all kinds of. I'm swinging again. Like we moved from sitting on a couch to sitting in these chairs. So now we're like right here, buddy with each other. And I swing.
I like it, but he
I
just the
swing.
hand
It's
thing
fun.
is, yeah.
Anyhow, I digress. But now that the coronavirus cases are really expanding and it's really getting kind of crazy, we are going to have to really just buckle down. This week, we're going to talk as a staff and make some final decisions, and we're going to put it together, a video for you with just explaining what's happening and what our goals and plans are, so you can know what's happening.
Yeah, because the biggest thing is right now we need to keep everybody safe. That's the biggest thing. And a lot of states and cities and things are not all the way shutting down again, but they're closing a lot of things again. And so it's kind of that decision of, do we go ahead and reopen for a couple of weeks, and then they say, hey, you can't meet anymore. You got to go back down to 10 people or whatever, So we're just really trying to make the best decisions possible. But we feel like we have a good plan, and so we'll talk to you about it this week.
Yep. It's going to be good. But let's get into Summer at Happy Rock. We are in week 4 already, if you can believe it. Week 4.
I love this series.
And so Summer at Happy Rock is really themeless, so to speak. We generally do series where at least 4, 5, 6 sometimes messages all kind of work together and fit together. Summer at Happy Rock, we set series aside and we make the whole summer kind of a series. Excuse me. I need to watch that. I need to, move my movements out here, right? But we take the entire summer series and we just put together stuff that maybe we just have one message or 2 messages that we just feel like God wants us to talk to you about, to share with you, but they haven't really fit into another series. So that's what we do for Summer at Happy Rock, and that's what we've got going on today. So in week 4, now weeks 4 and 5 are going to work together.
Yeah.
So this message is going to work hand in hand with next week as well. So you're not going to want to miss next week either. But we're talking about building confidence. Okay, building confidence. This isn't something that I can't honestly say I've ever taught about building confidence in church. It's one of those topics that goes overlooked.
But it's not what you think, though.
No, it's not.
Think.
It may not be and end up being what you think it's going to be.
Yeah.
But let's talk about confidence for a second. Confidence is a large part of life. It's being willing to try new things. It's being willing to do things, not forsaking all else or for not thinking about consequences and whatnot. But it is being willing to at least initiate a step to make a change in your life, or to try something new, or to do something. And honestly, there's a cost at not having it. There's a cost for having too much confidence, but there can also be a cost for not having enough confidence. And let's be honest, it doesn't take much for our insecurities to come springing forth and kind of trying to ruin things for us, make us kind of wall up and get behind our defenses and shell up a little bit. It can cost you the idea of finding that new job. Maybe you had in your heart and mind, you just felt like, man, this new career options, this set of skills I've been wanting to learn, I really would like to do that, but I just don't feel like I'd be good at it. That's a lack of confidence speaking, and it's going to keep you from doing these things. Maybe fellas, maybe you've had your eye on a special lady and you just haven't been willing to ask her out yet. You just haven't had the confidence.
See, Ben didn't have the confidence at first.
Hey.
And I made the first move with Ben, so said, hey,
she did.
We need to get together.
So ditto goes for you, ladies. If you don't have the confidence, you got your eye on that fella, and he's a good Christian guy, he's living for God, and you just don't have not having confidence will keep you from experiencing some good things.
Yeah.
Maybe you want to have kids, but you're just so hesitant because you're not confident. Am I going to be a good parent? I just don't know. It'll stop you from that. Maybe you want to get in better shape, get fit, but you just don't want to go to the gym because they've got all this equipment and you don't know how to use any of it. So I don't want to look stupid. So you don't end up getting in better shape for yourself. You don't end up getting in a more healthy state. Or maybe joining our serve team. And that looks a little different right now, but when we're back in-person services, the serving team will again look a little bit different than it did before. But you just being hesitant, being overly conscientious about the things around you, lacking confidence can really cost you in the long run from experiencing things. It can hurt you. You're going to miss out. And so here I've got us our first point for today, and it's this: is you might think, well, I just need to get more confidence, right? Well, there are multiple types of confidences, and here's the first one that you really don't need more of. You don't need more self-confidence. Self-confidence is not the answer in this case, right? Self-confidence is not the answer. Why is the question? Because that's the type of confidence that we all think
We can't
of.
rely on ourselves.
We can't really rely on ourselves. Why? Because we're flawed. You're flawed. I'm flawed. We make mistakes on a daily basis,
Yeah.
and we're imperfect. We're lacking in various ways. And if you don't believe me that self-confidence is not always the answer, just go to Google and just type it out. Search out baking fails.
I would say like just Pinterest fails.
Or Pinterest fails even.
Because that's funny.
Yeah. And just look at the pictures. It didn't turn out that way just because someone didn't have enough confidence.
Yeah, they
right?
tried, but it just wasn't their gift.
They tried, but there are so many other things that work in addition to confidence, like skills and practicing and just getting better at something. But
Yeah.
it's not because of confidence that sometimes, a lot of times, that people fail.
Yeah.
Generally, a lack of confidence keeps us from doing anything to begin with. But we've also got to look at the fact that our confidence can come and go from one day to the next without any real change in our situation.
Yeah.
So you cannot rely on self-confidence as something that's going to get you through, because it comes and goes. It wanes. It's dependent on our perception of ourselves and what we're capable of. And sometimes we don't always have a healthy picture of that. So the question is, what do we really need? Right? This is what we're going to get into, and this is what's going to carry us from this week to next week. Okay, 1 Corinthians chapter 10, starting in verse 12. Heather, you want to read that for us?
So it's the Message, which, we don't use this very often, but we liked the way that this verse worded it, because the Message puts it into a translation of kind of how we talk today.
Yeah.
And so we really liked how this worded it. So 1 Corinthians 10:12 says, forget about self-confidence. It's useless, but cultivate God confidence. God confidence, because like Pastor Ben said, we're flawed, and God made us as human beings to make our own choices, to not be this dictator who just makes us do everything he wants, but he wanted us to choose him, choose right, choose the best things for our life, seeking him. And so that's why we can't rely on self-confidence but God confidence.
Yep. So that's the key right there, is we should cultivate God confidence.
Yes.
God confidence.
It has to be a reliance on God and not ourselves.
Because he's the center, the core. He's the rock that
He's the foundation.
The foundation we build our lives on.
Yeah.
Myself would not make a very good foundation, because again, my confidence comes and goes.
Yeah.
Or at least my self-confidence. I'm good some days, I'm bad some days, but God's is not. So
well, when
we've
the
gotta get
storms
this.
of life come against us, how do we handle it? We don't handle it that well, and that's why we have to rely on God. We turn to him. When the storms of life come, what do we say? We say, get alone with God, get into his presence, worship, pray, those kind of things, because we have to get God's perspective back in our lives.
Yep.
And Pastor Ben was saying that this week and next week will go together. So there's 3 truths to help you build God confidence, because we always want to make sure that whatever we do is practical. We don't want to just tell you what to do. We want to show you how you can get to that point.
Yep.
So
Yep.
3 truths, but we're just going to share 1 today, and then we'll do 2 next week. So you have to come back for next week for the whole plan. So today is the first one.
Come back.
The first one is, my God is always for me.
My God is always for
You have to
me.
realize that. Like, that's a truth. Okay, you have to get that in your mind. And remember, weeks ago when we read the verses, whatever is true, that's the first thing. So we have to say, is this true? Is this what God says about me? Or is this just my perspective or somebody else's perspective? The truth is, my God is always for me. Not just my God is for me, he's always for me.
Always.
So what's your perspective on that today? Are you feeling like God's out to get you? Are you feeling like life is just against you? Or do you have the perspective of, God is with me, even though everything's not going how I want it to go? God is helping me. I know he is. I have faith in him. I believe, because of who he's been, who he's going to be. I rely on him. Or maybe you're kind of somewhere in between. Well, let me read this verse to you today that kind of can give you that reassurance of who God is. In Romans 8:31, remember, we live by the new covenant, which is in Romans, okay? Romans is in the new covenant. So we want to read this and say, if God is for us, who can be successful against us?
Who could be successful? Nobody.
Who can be
Nobody.
successful against us? So that's for us today. That's speaking to you today. If God is for us, who can be successful against us? Nobody.
No one.
Nobody. The enemy, life in general, your boss, whatever it is, nobody can be. So I want you to look at this point in our season that we're currently in right now. So there's many people who have been furloughed, many people who have lost their jobs. Maybe they had to stay home with their kids during school, and maybe they had a job, but because they had to stay home with their kids and there was nowhere for your kids to go, you lost your job. Maybe you're just in a point right now where you feel like it's just gone, and you're on unemployment or you're looking for a job. But have you ever thought that maybe it wasn't actually a loss after all? That maybe God has something different, a different job that is way better coming your way.
Maybe.
That maybe it's just not open yet. You know, when we planted the church and we were portable, that's what we felt like God wanted us to do at the time. And then when we felt a shift coming to Gladstone, you know, we had the shift, but we had no building. We had nowhere even like to rent, nothing. And we just left it in God's hands. And we said, okay, God, you know, it would be great to have a building, but at the same time, we'll continue to do portable, whatever you want. And this awesome story happened where we met this pastor, we became friends, we started meeting in his building, renting out on Saturdays, and then bam, their church, God speaks to him to give the building to our church. And we have a building now paid off. And what a miracle. I mean, we thought it was a loss at first, like coming into another church building, like how are people going to see us here in another church? We kind of saw it as a loss, but we were like, you know what, God, it's actually a blessing too, because our rent was lower. We're partnering with this church, but how is this going to happen? And he had this huge plan of saying, it's not a loss. I'm setting you up for success. You think it's a loss because you don't have your own building or you're not portable there anymore and you're working on this church with another church, but I have a plan. And 8 months later, bam, he gave us the building. So things right now, what is something in your life that you feel like is a loss? But remember, maybe it's not a loss. Maybe that job, maybe there was going to be a situation that was going to happen later on that you knew nothing about, and God saw it coming, and he wanted to protect you from it, and he's getting you out of that situation right now before it happened. Mm-hmm. You have to remember that God is always for you. He's not against you. So right now is a season of change. But a season of change is always an opportunity for growth.
Yeah, absolutely. The high school years for many, pretty much everybody are seasons of change. It's a constant season of change, mm-hmm. right? So your elementary, then your middle. They've even got 6th grade centers now, where only 6th grade, and then they go in the middle, and then high school and things. Well, when I was in high school, I was a bit of a nerdy kid. Still was in college, you know. But I was also, you know, fairly fit and a bit athletic too. And so I wasn't part of the athletes group, you know the groups, right? Every school has
the jocks, you were.
Right. So I was in some of their same athletic classes that I would take because I wanted an easy A, right? Like most kids do, right? And so I was in these classes and I was this nerdy kid, but I could keep up with all of the athletes most of the time, and they didn't really like it. Looking back, I recognize now that they didn't really like it so much. And so they had just a big inside joke or multiple inside jokes that were centered around me. And they would make fun of me to my face. And everyone would laugh. But I wouldn't know that that's what they were talking about me. And so I got bullied a fair bit, just thinking back through comments made and situations that went down in high school. And for all intents and purposes, I should be looking back on that and going, man, I can't believe they would do that. What those jerks, mean.
I'm getting angry right now inside, babe.
Right? I know.
Remember we talked about a couple weeks, I just get so mad when people bully you. I'm getting mad right now.
Yeah, and so you would think that they were being successful against me. Like they were pushing me down. They were feeding their own egos while making me feel worse about myself. But I had no idea what they were doing, so I didn't feel bad at the time. But here's the reality: they were not successful against me. And here's what I mean: they were successful maybe at making some jokes at my expense, but they were not successful at keeping me from the future that God planned for me.
That's right.
See, now that I know what I know about these situations, I've been through some bullying, I know how to encourage someone who's going through the exact same thing.
Yeah.
I know that was part of God's plans for my life, is to know how to encourage people that are going through hard times and that people are treating them bad. And so I can encourage people with that now, that the future is not set. You're not defined by what someone else is thinking and saying about you. You're defined by what God has to say about you. And so for all intents and purposes, the enemy, he was trying to get me down and stop me to be successful at stopping me from getting into my future that God planned for me. But he was unsuccessful.
That's right.
He was unsuccessful, church. And so listen, this is not, whatever you're going through right now is not going to be successful. You have a future ahead of you.
Yeah.
You have a good one. God's planned it out for you. You're a 10 in something. Move forward with those 10s and do something amazing. Yeah. Because God's working it out. God's working out a better future for you. So what's your struggle right now that's prepping you for a future? What's the struggle right now? Just be thinking about that. See, God's working things out for you to have a stronger future. Now, let's talk exercise. I already talked in terms of, athletics and things, but let's talk in terms of exercise. Strength is built by pushing against a force. Like there's an opposition and you're pushing against it, and you do it over and over, repetitious over time. And that builds strength. It brings strength to your muscles. It yields bigger muscles. I mean, have you ever wondered how people get gigantic and they're in those, contests and they're going, they're doing all that stuff. Maybe there's some special supplements that they take, but they work out a lot. Yeah. Over a long portion of time, it takes these people getting there. So what that means for you and for me is whatever opposition you're up against right now, it's building strength in you, but only if you don't quit. Only if you keep pushing back against this opposition. Keep pushing back against the enemy's work in your life, because God is helping you build those spiritual muscles that are going to get you further into your future, serving Him and the plans that He has designed for you.
But you first have to remember the truth that God is always for you.
God is always for you.
You got to have that reassurance, that peace in your mind to realize that God is working things out, and you have to allow God to fight for you, to push with you against those things. You can't just let God do all the work, but you have to work together.
No, you've got to rely on Him, and that's where this God confidence comes in. When you start getting confident in the fact that God is there with you, helping you, that it's not just you just pushing forever, there's something special to be found in that. Because if it's just self-confidence, you're going to fizzle out. Yeah. You're going to lose strength. You're going to get worn out and just call it quits. But listen, I wrote this down. I don't want to mess it up. Today's opposition and struggle equals future strength as long as you don't quit.
You can't quit.
You can't quit. Don't quit. Keep going, because God has this future for you planned out. So all of this, though, everything has a starting point. Yeah. Okay? And for everybody, Jesus is the starting point. You got to have a relationship with Him to even start down this journey of really, you can be doing God's plans for your life, but be completely separated off from Him, but you won't appreciate it.
But I think a lot of people believe that once getting a relationship with God, it means just praying a prayer. That's not a relationship with God. So like when I married Pastor Ben, if on that day I married him and I said, I commit to you, I am your wife, I will be your partner, your best friend, those kind of things. And I said that, it's kind of like the prayer when you're saying to God, I want you to be the Lord of my life. I'm asking Him to be my husband. If I said that, but then didn't live like that, and I didn't spend time with Him, and I wasn't committed to Him, and I, cheated on Pastor Ben and things like that, that would not be the commitment in the relationship that I said that I would be a part of.
Right.
When you pray this prayer in a second, if this is you, if you're saying, God, I want to live for you and I want you to be the Lord of my life. You died on the cross for me and I'm so thankful for that. And I want to do my best to live for you. When you're saying that, you have to put action behind it. You can't just say the words and say, this is how I'm going to live. And I prayed this prayer. Now everything in my life needs to be better. God needs to help me, blah, 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 blah. It's a work every single day. And it takes time. It takes time for a marriage to grow and to strengthen. If we don't work on it, it will fizzle out. It will die. But you have to work on your relationship with God. And the greatest part about our Heavenly Father is He is so willing to work on every step with you, as long as it takes, as hard as it is. He will be there with you every step of the way because God is always for you.
Yeah, and here's the amazing thing about this, is that no matter what you've done, the mistakes you've made, the things that you regret in your past life, none of those things have to keep you from experiencing heaven with Jesus.
That's right.
None of them.
Yeah.
It starts with a prayer we're about to pray, but then continuing in a relationship with him that takes work. See, Jesus finished the work so that we can be in heaven. He made that. He opened that door for us.
Yeah.
But then we've got more steps to take.
Yeah,
we've got a life that we have to live with purpose here. So let's take the first steps.
Yeah.
All right, so if you're someone that you're far from God today, and you're just realizing, man, this isn't the life that I planned. This isn't the life that I want. I want something more. I want to know that heaven is going to be waiting for me once I'm done here. Then you need to get something inside of you, and you need to pray this prayer with me and start making some changes in your life.
Yeah.
And Christians, it's so easy for us to get caught up and distracted by other things in life and get us off course from our relationship with God.
Yeah.
You can pray this prayer right alongside of us and get Jesus back to the center. You can make a decision for Christ today.
It's kind of like when you're a Christian, when you've already become a follower of God, you've prayed this prayer before. It's kind of like when you make a mistake, with somebody else. Like if I made a mistake with Pastor Ben, I'm just coming to him and saying, I'm sorry that I broke this part of our relationship, or if I lied to you or whatever. Like, I want to change. I want to make sure our relationship from this point on continues to be better. And that's kind of what you're doing with God. You're just saying, God, I know that I haven't done the best job of talking with you every day or praying or worshiping and things like that. And I want to change that. I want to get back in the realization that you are always for me. So it's not like you're just saying, oh, I was this bad Christian or I never was a Christian. No, it's not saying that. It's just basically coming back and saying, God, I haven't been living for you and I want to change that.
Yeah. So if you feel like God, something's just whispering, tugging on your heart right now, saying you need to change something here, that's God talking to you right now. And we're going to pray this prayer. Let's get it together. Just pray this prayer with me. I'm going to read it off for you. I have it written specifically, and it's going to be up on your screen just so you can pray right alongside of us.
Pray it right in your heart.
Pray it from your heart to God's. Mean every word, and you're going to be on your way. Right? All right, let's go. Jesus, I want to live for you. Be my Lord. I believe you died on the cross for my sins. Be my Lord. In Jesus' name.
Yes, God.
Amen.
Amen.
Man, what a great thing. If you did, great job, great decision. I'm so proud of you for just taking the first step on a journey that's going to take your whole life. And it's going to equal heaven with Jesus for all eternity.
Yeah.
But we can't really comprehend that. But it's for the rest of time, we're going to get to be with Jesus in heaven. It's going to be so amazing. And listen, if you said that prayer, if you made that decision for Jesus for the first time or the first time in a long time, will you just find those praise hands emoji? It looks like this, or type praise in the chat, in the comments, because we want to follow up with you. We want to know what's happening in your life. God's got some cool things going on, and we just want to be part of it with you and support you any way we can.
That's right. We are always so proud when you guys take steps because that means that God is moving in your life. And that is why God told us to plant Happy Rock. So it would change lives. It's helping people find and follow Jesus, not just find him, but to give you practical steps every single week or when we're together to help you follow God. And that's the point. And so we are really, really proud of you and excited. And that's why we want you to put the praise hands or just, let us know or write in, message us to our Facebook, messaging so that we can get you connected. We really want to do that. And, there are other ways that you can connect and be a part of what God is doing at Happy Rock as well, and that's to give. And God really wants us to use our time, our talents, and our treasures. And so our time, it's giving time towards church, serving, those kind of things. And there's more to that, but then also with our talents, helping people with the crafts that we've been giving. We have people right now that have been helping at the church with building projects and getting ready for reopening, and also outside in our flower beds, making the church look nicer, using their talents and their time to benefit our church body and our community, and then also our treasures. For the things that God's given us, because our money is not our own. We earn it, yes, but it's God who gives it to us. It's God who allows us to have it, and he wants to bless us so that we can be a blessing to others. Not just to bless us so we can hoard it or we can store it, but to actually be have the blessing to become a blessing to somebody else. And you all have been doing such a great job. We have at this point purchased 175 boxes right now, and our goal is 200. And so we have 25 more boxes to buy for the community boxes that we've been doing for the Feed Northland kids. So 175 we purchased. We just need 25 more. So if you'd like to give to that, it's $20 per box. It feeds a family for 1 week. We would love for you to be a part of that because that is really changing people's lives forever. They will remember this forever during this time. This year has been crazy.
Yes, it has.
I mean, just a crazy whirlwind. And at the very beginning of it, God told us that our word for the year would be focus. And we have had to be more focused and more on it than we ever have before. And so just make sure that when you look at your life and what you're doing for God, just to really kind of focus in yourself and look at what you're giving. Are you able to give some of your time? And if not, are you able to help with some of your talent? And if not that, maybe you can give. Just helping people along the way to help them find and follow Jesus is the key. And if you'd like to give, there's 2 ways that you can. One is on our website, and then one also is through the P.O. box. You can give that. It's on your screen. So continue to help people find and follow Jesus. That's what it's all about. It's not about us getting your money and just doing whatever we want with it. No, it goes right back into the community. And so we want to be able to help them. So thank you for that. Just take a minute and hang around. We have the slideshow afterwards. It's a great opportunity to just say hi to somebody because we still, trying to stay connected as much as possible. But take a minute, just say hi to somebody. We love you guys. We are so glad that you joined us. Don't forget, next week we are doing part 2 of God confidence. And so you want to make sure that you check that out because you'll find the next 2 steps of the practical steps that you can put in place so that you can start to cultivate that God confidence. But we love you guys. Make sure to join us back here next Sunday at 10 a.m. And look out for that video this week explaining all of our reopening plans. We love you guys, and we will see you back next Sunday. Have a great week.
Bye.